All right, it's time for the mid-year book freakout tag. I always get those words mixed up, but this is kind of one of those BookTube staple videos that I love to do. I am specifically using the prompts from Kathy's video because she actually lists the prompts in her description, so I am linking it. Go check her out. It is so annoying to do this tag and not know what the prompts are or where to find them. It's not easy to find the original tag. And I like Kathy's list of questions because they're slightly different than what other people use. So I highly recommend checking out her video from last year. I know for a fact she won't be posting her video till July because she's reasonable and waits till after the midway point through the year, but I just want to do it now. I'm seeing other people post theirs. I'm antsy. So here I go. So, prompt number 1. Best book you've read so far in 2018. I feel like this won't be that surprising, although I had thought about it because I didn't know, I try not to double up too much on this list. I'm pretty sure that I will, but it was an attempt. But this is The Best of All Possible Worlds by Karen Lord. It's that social soft sci-fi I keep talking about. It's optimistic sci-fi. It's very people, culture driven. It has the best teamwork interactions, and it has one of my favorite slow burn romances. Like, I got my mom to read this recently, and she's like, that was a romance. You don't normally read, love stories. And I'm like, yeah, because, I don't know, I didn't know this was a love story, and it was such a perfect place, perfect time for me to read this one. It was Valentine's Day weekend. I didn't know it had romance elements. I didn't know they were so strong, and I loved it. I couldn't put it down. And it also coincided with, a time where Ryan had a book he couldn't put down, so we spent a whole evening just the two of us reading for hours, which rarely happens. So there's just a lot of nostalgia, and I was dreaming about the book. I wanted to wake up to read the book. I just was so enraptured by this story. I bought a special edition. It was just a fantastic time. That's my favorite book so far in 2021. 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2021. All right, this one is hard because I think I've read a fair few good sequels this year, but I went with my instincts, and that's A Desolation Called Peace. This is the sequel to A Memory Called Empire. I have reviews for both of them, spoiler free. We talk about A Desolation Called Peace a lot in my Discord, so if you're reading it and want to talk to other people, you're going to find a lot of Tex Kalanley fans over there. This sci-fi duology is just so top-notch. I think this sequel really keeps a lot of the core things I love from A Memory Called Empire, but just does them I don't know, the entertainment quality is elevated. I think thematically, I will always think about A Memory Called Empire more, but A Desolation Called Peace had a lot of my sci-fi tropes that I really love while still keeping a lot of the thematic elements. I liked the infusion of more point of views. I think that really helped with the world building and some character interactions that we got to see. I had a really great time with this sequel. I think it really lived up to the hype that I put it into my mind. I buddy read it with a friend, so it also has that fun nostalgia factor. So yeah, that is the sequel I'm choosing for this question. 3, new release that you haven't read yet but want to. This one is A Master of Jinn by P. Djeli Clark. I have an e-arc of this, so I really do need to get to it, and I've read the short story and the novella before it. I kind of held off on it because we're reading it for my book club Patreon next month, so I wanted to read it closer to when everyone else is reading it, so it's happening really soon. But I think of all the releases that have come out so far, this is the one that I still haven't gotten to yet. And so that's just, it's happening real soon. It's on the horizon. 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm really bad this year about really knowing what's coming out because I don't have any of my big authors releasing anything in November or December, but there are 2 that I'm really excited for. One's Jade Legacy, which is the 3rd book in the Greenbone saga, and the other is the sequel to A Mask of Mirrors, which I don't remember the name, but there might be a cover, so maybe I'll put it here. But there's a sequel to The Mask of Mirrors coming out, I think, late November, early December as well. So both of those are sequels that I'm highly anticipating, especially because Jade Legacy gives me an excuse to reread the Greenbone saga, which is such a good character-driven drama. And now that I'm more prepared for the pacing of the series and how everything flows, I'm really excited to reread it because, I don't know, I think sometimes when you know the pacing of a book on reread, it just makes it that much better because you're not, I don't know how to explain it, but you aren't going to be dreading anything. You'll be more prepared, if that makes sense. 5, biggest disappointment. I have 2. Should I try and pick one? I don't know. I think, the biggest disappointment was probably for sure The Burning God. I have a series review for The Poppy War. I think this was a big disappointment because the first 2 books in the series were 4 stars, and this one's like a 2.5 stars. So I went into it expecting a lot of great things, and that just like didn't happen for me. I don't know. It was never for me like an all-time favorite series, so it wasn't like a huge disappointment, but it definitely was up there. And then my second one's the Witcher series, which I also have a review for, trying to help you make the right choice if you want to go into it, since that's a much longer series. That's 2 short story anthologies, 5 novels, and a standalone kind of side story, which I haven't read that story yet. I'm actually really excited for that story. But the 5 novels, I finished books 4 and 5 this year, and they were disappointing to me. Mainly because I felt like when I started the series, I was going to get one thing, and it turned into something else. And it's not that what it turned into is bad. I think it's accomplishing what it wants to do. I didn't want what it wanted to do. So that was disappointing, because I remember when I read The Last Wish, I was like, oh my gosh, this character is so cool. I bought a copy of The Last Wish, like the hardback, which I still love, and I'm excited to reread those short stories. But man, those novels, like, I was excited to be with a monster hunter who was questioning his humanity and seeing him with friends and go through life and like have a found family, and that was not the focus of the story whatsoever. So yeah, disappointing a little bit. Number 6, biggest surprise. This one's Interior Chinatown. So this is a literary fiction. It's even a screenplay. I read it for book club, so literally nowhere near my radar. Like, would not have picked it up at a bookstore. No one I follow on BookTube really reads literary fiction. This was just for my book club, which is why I go to this book club, because sometimes I find books I really love. And I read this in a day, and I'm excited to reread it. It's, I think, a really good piece of literary fiction. I think it accomplishes what it wants to do pretty near perfectly. I really like the blend of satire with handling the heavy themes that are in this work. Yeah, I don't know. I was just literally so surprised. I remember I always read my book club books for my local book club the Monday before we talk, unless I read them way earlier, because then I have a whole week. I can read almost any book in a whole week if that's the only thing I focus on. That was true even before BookTube. So I always figure, well, I need to for sure start it today. And I picked it up on that Monday, and I finished it that Monday night. And I was like, well, that was just like 5 hours of my life that just went by, which just never happens to me. I'm like not one of those readers who gets to get so focused and immersed into a thing that I don't like look at my phone or wander around the apartment or watch a BookTube video. And so that was really surprising that this was the work that did that, and I was just really happy to go on that ride. 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you? This is going to C.L. Clark, who wrote The Unbroken this year, and I am so looking out for their works now. I was so blown away by this debut. If you've not watched my review, I have one for this book, and a part of that review is really me being just like, how did they do this to such a high level for what I wanted? Because I think it's not an easy thing to do. If everyone could do what they did in The Unbroken, everyone would be doing it. I was personally really satisfied with the thematic content and the storytelling in that work. I am so excited for more works in that series, for any other works that they choose to put out. For me, that's the debut author that really stuck out to me. I thought about saying Karen Lord for favorite, like, new to me author, but I read Redemption and Indigo last year. The Best of All Possible Worlds solidified that Karen Lord is a favorite author of mine, and I have 2 more works to read, and I am very excited to get to those later this year. 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really know what this question means, but I went with Vargo from The Mask of Mirrors. I don't even think, I don't get fictional crushes. I don't think I ever did, even when I was, of the age. Maybe, sort of, I don't know. But I do have characters who I love seeing them in, flirting situations in the book. I like them in the sexual tension they create on page. So I'm using it with that frame of reference. And Vargo in The Mask of Mirrors is amazing. He wears a particularly interesting costume to an event. We talk about it a lot in Leslie at the Nerdy Narratives live stream for The Mask of Mirrors, which I'll link down below. We talk spoiler-free for the first half, and then we go into spoilers, and it was a fantastic time. All insomnia incurred from this live stream was worth it. I get really bad insomnia when I live stream late at night because I just get so awake. I just don't know how to go to sleep. But Vargo, man, and I really like his character. I don't think he's, I don't know, some people have opinions about him, and I think they're valid, but like, I don't care. I really like Vargo. In kind of similar vein, I don't know, there's just a lot of characters in The Mask of Mirrors I really like, but Vargo's, I think, the one I have a crush on, and the one I'm like most excited to see back in like November, December when the next book comes out. I'm just like, I'm so excited. Can there be an arc on NetGalley yet? Please. Number 9, newest favorite character. All right, so I thought about this a lot, and I don't think this is recency biased, but maybe it is, but I like looked through a bunch of books, and the character that came to mind was Terrain from The Unbroken. I really freaking like Terrain. And Terrain could have also gone under Book Crush, because Terrain, as I say in my review, she's a specimen. She's beautiful. She's a gorgeous woman. And I just loved her character work. I don't know. She also, like, I'm a sucker for kind of the, like, brooding character who has, like, a lot to think about and unpack. And that's, like, very Terrain. Like, I really like her. So, I don't know. I really like Terrain. I don't really know how to wrap my head around it. I do have a video where I talk about why I like characters and stuff, and I just do think Terrain is so complex and messy, but every decision she makes sense, even if I just want to be like, no, don't do it. So, I don't know. I really like her. I don't know if we would actually be friends or anything like that, but I'd want her in my corner, like, hardcore. Like, I really would want Terrain on my side is really where I'm at. So that's why she's the one I'm choosing for this, because I think she's a large reason of why I liked that book, The Unbroken, so that's who we're going with. Number 10, book that made you cry. All right, I don't cry during books. I cry during musicals. That's it. I feel like I talk about this all the time. I do not cry while reading. I don't know what's wrong with my heart. It doesn't happen. Do I cry at the beginning of Oliver and Company? Every time. Every time. Why does no one adopt that kitten? Why? But one book that made me really depressed was Shuggie Bain. But one that like gave me like negative emotions, but like I really loved the book, would be Ship of Magic. I actually had a hard time with the first 100, 150 pages of that book because it was so real. Like, Robin Hobb books are so immersive, and I was really stressed because when you start Ship of Magic, you know exactly what's going to happen, if only because it's maybe on the synopsis of the book. I don't know, I didn't read it, but some people talk about it in reviews, like, but it's also just like, you know what's going to happen if you've read a Robin Hobb book. You know based off the situation that nothing fair will happen. It's going to be so unfair, and you're going to get so angry, and like, everything's bad, because capitalism, and like, greed, and it's just, and then there's Kyle. So that one didn't make me cry, but it gave me a lot of sad energy at the beginning where I was like dreading it. But once we got over the thing I was dreading, like once the thing I knew would happen had happened, I really loved that book. I really loved the Mad Ship. I can't wait for Ship of Destiny. Number 11, book that made you happy. There are so many books that make me happy, but I think the one I'm going with is The Prey of Gods by Nikki Drayden, not because this book is particularly happy. I don't think I read a lot of books that are like humorous or like lighthearted pleasure reads that make me happy like that. Like, I think I can think of lots of books that have moments that made my heart warm. But consistently when I think of The Prey of Gods, I think of how that week was a rubbish, dark week in February, and that book made me happy. Like, that book and its insane plot and just being so engaged and like, it was really solid from beginning to end. It was just such a wonderful ride. I was always wanting to read it. It was perfect for me at the time that I read it. So I think that's why it's going to go in this slot. And I guess I didn't talk about what this book's about, but it's kind of a fantasy futuristic book. It has robots too. It's a genre blendy thing. It's in South Africa, and lots of different events are converging at once. You kind of got like a god who wants to take over. You got like an AI revolution. You've got kids just like coming of age. Although it is an adult work, you have a lot of adult characters too. And everyone's point of view is just so fascinating. And the entire time that I read this with my friend Laura, we were just like, I just want to know what's happening. This is so crazy. It was so bingeable and so addictive and the best time. Number 12, favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. I don't think I watched a film to like a movie book adaptation, but I did watch the second season of His Dark Materials, and A+. So His Dark Materials is one of my favorite series of all time, and I've been watching the show because the movie was trash. The movie sucked. Actually, correction, the movie probably wasn't all bad. I just hate the ending of the movie The Golden Compass to no end because they changed it in a very, very dramatic way. Because one of my favorite things about His Dark Materials is that it is a series with stakes, more so than most young adult and middle grade books do. And I read it as a middle grader, and I was so blown away that authors could do what Phil Pullman chose to do with the characters and the situation. And to have the movie just step on that, I was just like, no. Bad movie. Because I also watched that movie when I was a teenager. Like, I was the demographic, and I was like, no. So I watched the show because I was excited. I figured it'll work better in series form. Most fantasy works do work better that way. And I was worried because season 1 was good, and season 1 was based more on the first book, which isn't my favorite book in the series. I much prefer the second and third book. But then season 2 is supposed to be the second book. And season 2 has my favorite character, and the character dynamic between Lyra and Will is important to me. It's so important to me, and I was so nervous because I'd seen those actors separate, but I hadn't seen them together yet, and it was awesome. I was very, very happy. I'm so pumped for the last season. And the acting's just been top-notch, and I don't know, I've been loving just seeing it on screen. It's so beautiful. There were scenes that hit me. Like, again, I don't cry in books, but I did, I ached a little bit for a scene that happened. So, I really love His Dark Materials. 13, favorite video you've done so far this year. I don't know what my favorite video is. I mean, I have one. Okay, so I'm very proud of my Jemison Guide video. I made a video where I basically walk someone through what all the Jemison books are about to help you pick the right jumping in point or the next book you want to read next. I am very proud of that. I put a lot of thought into it. I think the editing turned out good. Overall, in terms of quality, I'm very happy with it. I also love every video I do with Ryan on the channel. I always think those are a blast. I think we did a premiere recently that was the first line challenge, and I was proud of myself. I did not win, spoiler alert, but man, I was so proud of myself for how many I got. And it was so funny because after the fact, a bunch of my friends were watching during the premiere, and my friend Michael Nip, he was just like, you were the chosen one, because I was so close. So that was really fun. I really loved filming that with Ryan and then doing the premiere with my friends. So it's more like a good memory. I don't know if the video itself is of any sustaining quality out there in the universe. And yeah, I think those are the ones that come to mind. I'm really proud of a lot of my standalone reviews. I'm also pretty proud of my young adult versus adult discussion video. That one was really nerve-wracking to put together, but I also like how it came across. I generally am pretty proud of most of my videos. Most of the videos I let you guys see, I am proud of. I am someone who will refilm if I don't like it, because I'm kind of a perfectionist that way, and I know not every video is perfect, but I want it to at least be at a certain caliber before putting it on the internet to exist for a long time. Number 14, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Every book I own is stunning, okay, guys? Full stop, I only buy pretty books. Except for the Malazan books, I'm not convinced they're pretty, but I like having them. But recently, I bought, and I already own this on ebook, I own this already, but I couldn't, my store had it, and it's one of the most stunning covers I've ever seen. This is the short story anthology New Sons, which now I might have to do a standalone review just to look at this again. And it makes me so happy that I own it. It's also one of those wraparound covers, so her hair goes onto the back. It's stunning. I also bought, almost purely for the cover, but I was talking with my friend Shannon. She was trying to figure out if she needed to DNF each of us a desert, which she did. There was some content warning stuff that wasn't going to work with what she wanted to read at the time. But then all of a sudden I'm like, man, I did it on audiobook last time and I'd love to physically read it again because I was just remembering things that were really cool. And so I went to the store and they had the hardback, which I love this cover. It's so pretty and I don't know, I like the height of it and I'm excited. Also, it's one of those books that doesn't have chapter titles, but it has this really pretty desert stuff at the front. I don't know. I have been thinking about buying each of us a desert for my shelf since I read it back in December, so I'm really glad I finally did. And I think this is stunning, but everything I own, I think is stunning. Oh, I think this one's also one I bought recently. I haven't read this one yet. So the other two I've read. So I don't know if the inside matches the quality, but Unraveling by Karen Lord, like, look at this maze. I think that's so pretty. So I don't know. I typically love collecting books, and to be on my shelf, you typically have to meet a certain caliber of my aesthetic. So for eye of the beholder, everything on my shelf is beautiful to me. 15. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I want to read the last two Karen Lord books that I have, which is Unraveling and The Galaxy Game. Not good at remembering names. I also have a bunch of arcs that I want to read that are coming up, but I'll make like an arc video for that. I'm collecting the ones to read for the second half of the year, now that the first half's almost wrapped up. So I have a couple of those. I have to finish the Broken Earth trilogy, which I've started. And I'm going to be putting together my thoughts for series for my summer TBR, but I'm sure there's more series that I want to finish. But I want to finish Ship of Destiny. I never really think more than 2 to 3 months ahead when I think of my reading schedule. I think that's how I mood read. I think that's how I let myself course adjust, sort of thing. So those are kind of sort of the like things that I have to do. I already talked about like my anticipated releases that are at like the end of the year. But I do have a fair few books on my shelves that are like new to me that I need to read for like my bingo challenge and my 21 to read in 2021. So you can check out those videos. Still working on those lists here and there. But yeah, those are the things I have to read. And I'm not tagging anyone because everyone knows that they should do this tag. So it's super fun. And if you don't want to like do the tag, if you don't make videos or have a blog, feel free to answer down in the comments, or you can talk to me about it on the Discord, or if you just have like a particular thing you want to talk about. I am more than happy to chat. I love chatting about books and avoiding real life responsibilities. That's why I have made this channel. And if you made it this far and you want to leave me an emoji, I don't know. I always get you guys to play deserts recently. I'm just looking at all the covers of my books. I don't know. Something that reminds you of this cover. I don't know. Like, she's got cool space stuff in her hair, and there's gears, and obviously suns. Here's your inspiration. This is stunning. Like, guys, and this collection is really good. It's like solid 4 to 5 star collection with like lots of 4 and 5 star stories. For me, at least. Really good. I do have at least, like, I don't know if a video's happening or everything, but I do have Storygraph and a Goodreads where I like list all the stories that I really liked from the collection. So that's it for this one. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.